So let's deal with the candidates who we pretty much are dealing with at the moment. And I don't think there's going to be another one from the Democrats or the Republicans, one that we don't see, but you never know. So what do we have right now? First, let's deal with the president himself, Joe Biden. Joe Biden's having a rough month. Turns out Joe Biden is emailing documents from his laptop, classified documents from his laptop. They keep finding classified documents everywhere. Now let's pause on that in case maybe you're a new viewer. Maybe you're looking at us right now on DirecTV for the first time because now the first is on DirecTV. So in case you're new, I'm going to do this very, very briefly. I call the corrupt entity we have in this country, I call it the system, the government working with the administrative state, working with the media, working with the education system, working with entertainment. They all believe the same thing, and I call it the system. The system wants Joe Biden gone. That's why when I said they keep finding, it's important we understand. These are all Democrats and Democrat operatives, sometimes Joe Biden's own staffers who keep finding these things that make Joe Biden look terrible. If you remember, Miranda Devine came on last week, and now I've seen more reporting, credit to Miranda for this. Miranda Devine came on last week and said there is some evidence out there that Hunter Biden not only had access to the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage, but that Joe Biden had critical national security information in those documents. He gave them to Hunter, or Hunter stole them, read them, and then relayed those things by email to somebody else. So this is a big thing, and it's not going away. Now, why does the system want Joe Biden gone? He's been a good boy. Why? Doesn't make sense. Well, remember, the system isn't loyal. The system is there to loot the United States of America, pillage the country, and destroy the country along the way. They're really there to softly raise it to the ground. As long as you're helping them with that goal, they will treat you right. But eventually, you just become too much of a liability and they need a new face. I mean, you can't have this guy as the face of the system.
Where's Doug? Congressman. He's around here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Doug, thanks for the passport into town. Doug and I have something in common. Doug, I think you might have been with. Doug knows. Look, here's the deal.
He and Doug are pretty close. Thanks for that passport, Doug. Except Doug's name is Don. There was no Doug there. So that's really all. He's old, dementia-riddled. He's a liability now. So they want him gone. And look, people get mad at Elizabeth Warren for being a fake Indian, which is still hilarious, by the way. I'll never stop laughing about the fact she actually submitted a recipe for soup to an Indian publication called Pow Wow Chow. That's still one of the great news stories of all time. But setting that aside, credit to Elizabeth Warren, because she didn't make any bones about the fact that Kamala Harris has got to go too.
If he's that old in his second term, the vice presidency becomes even more important. Should Kamala Harris be his choice the second time around?
You know, I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable.
Ow. Hey, should Dome stick around? Oh, I don't know. Whatever Joe wants. Eek. You know Dome saw that and was ticked off about it. Okay, so what are we looking at for 2024 on the Democrat side? Eric Adams is a dark horse, one I've been telling you is a dark horse, but really the leader right now, in my opinion, the leader is Gavin Newsom. And let me just clarify something. I know they've been grooming Pete Buttigieg, the Rear Admiral, for quite some time. I know he wants to run for president, a very ambitious soul. He can't get the nominations. He can't get enough of the black vote to get out of the Democrat primaries. He's gay, so it ain't gonna be Buttigieg. It's gonna be Newsom if he wants it. And please don't believe him when he does the same thing they all do. I'm not running.
Are you running? Would you ever?
No, what would you ever? Is this the would you ever? Would you ever?
Would you ever? Will you?
Ever?
Do you? Is this all part of a plan?
No, yeah. Is this all part of a strategy?
Well, come on. You're taking billboards out. You're definitely increasing your national profile.
It's not the intention. My intention is to raise attention to these critical issues.
Okay.
On what's happening. I'm just telling you.
It's not my intention is not a no.
No,
so
no.
We'll take that to the
Okay,
bank.
we'll start. Okay, let me answer your question. No, and then no, and then no, and then no, and no. How many cameras?
Okay, so
you
that's
have? No.
a no for Iowa, a no for New Hampshire, a no for
and-
South Carolina, a no for Nevada. Okay,
No.
I'll
So
play
then
it
there's-
each time you're in one of those states. That's fine.
Hardcore reporting there. But listen, I'm actually not even going to blast Democrats here because they all do this. Democrats and Republicans. Remember the old Jesse rule. None of them are ever running for office until they're running for office. It's become the standard thing they all do. Hey, are you going to run for president? No, I can't. You want to run for president? No, I wouldn't. I'm just a servant to the people here. No, I won't. No, I'm not running. No, I'm not running. And then about 15 minutes later, I wasn't going to run. But so many people have begged me, come save the country, Gavin, that I feel a solemn obligation to my nation to run. They all do it. Biden did it. They all do it. They all do the same stupid thing. Now, all right, that's the Democrat side. Now let's go to the Republican side. Trump, back out there in rally mode. Here he was in New Hampshire.
And we need a president who is ready to hit the ground running on day one. And boy, am I hitting the ground. You know, I said, let's go. They said, he's not campaigning. This is like about a month ago when I announced, well, I said, I got 2 years. I'm more angry now and I'm more committed now than I ever was.
Tell you what is impressive about that. I'm glad he's angry. I'm glad he's committed. What's impressive about that is Trump's energy. Trump is an old man. And he looks good, sounds good. I mean, when you compare how Trump looks and sounds to Biden, it's really, really impressive. So good for Trump. Said some good things. He's been saying good things about education and the border. Happy about that. He did say something about rhinos this weekend, though.
We need a fighter who can stand up to the left, who can stand up to the swamp, stand up to the media, stand up to the deep state. Am I allowed to say stand up to the rhinos too? I think we can say that. I think we can say that.
Trump's doing rallies with Lindsey Graham. I mean, look, I want him to stand up to the rhinos. I hope he does. Go drain the swamp, but Lindsey Graham's going to help you drain the swamp. And this isn't a one-off. This is a normal thing. They're just apparently going to be doing lots of rallies and stuff together. Trump and Lindsey Graham going to drain the swamp. Trump's got to make better personnel decisions. Now, I believe that the rallies will help Trump. I believe that his distance from the people has hurt him. Too much time on the golf course, too many consultants pouring honey in his ear, not enough time around you. I think the rallies will help bring back a better Trump, so I'm happy he's back out there. And I know people are getting mad already because Trump's out there already blasting away at Ron DeSantis. And this is when people on the right, maybe you, get uncomfortable. He's calling him Ron DeSanctimonious and blasting him for all kinds of different things. Why are you uncomfortable? This is good. This is good. We want the best fighter, whoever that may be, to take on Gavin Newsom in 2024. If that's Trump, good. If that's DeSantis, good. But you should want the best fighter because we got a mountain to climb. Let them fight. Call each other names. Just sit and just throw poop at each other like a couple of monkeys. I don't care. Have debates, have arguments, call each other names, blast each other. It's politics. Politics is a contact sport, not a kid's game. Good for Trump, blast away. If once Heavy D gets in, he's already kind of in, but once Heavy D gets in, he'll start blasting back. And don't allow yourself to do this thing. You ever been around a fight? Maybe been in one, but you ever been around one? Schoolyard fight, out behind the gym. Hey, let's go throw hands kind of thing. Don't be the girl who's saying, stop it, guys. Oh my gosh, stop hitting each other, guys. Don't be that. That's what you sound like when you complain about these primaries. Remember, 2016 was the nastiest primary anyone's ever seen. Trump emerged from that victorious and then won the presidency. A hard-fought, brutal, nasty primary doesn't hurt us for the general. That's a lie. Let them fight. Just going to do a little brief economic update here. It's bad, man. Gas prices going back up, gone up for 5 straight weeks. National average is up 33 cents from the last month, 14 cents from a year ago. And this is at a time, which we're going to go over in a second, this is at a time when everything else is getting more expensive too. And this is part of the reason I understand why people want to go back, because this is what people are experiencing, normal people. I would argue many of my maybe wealthier friends in the media business don't spend enough time with normal people. Again, I'm not judging, but normal people are watching not just gas, energy, their power bill. I hear more complaints in my circles about the power bill. Did you see the power bill? Oh my gosh, we need to go shopping for a new power company. What about the power bill? The power, gas, power, eggs. Eggs are one of those things. I was taught by my folks when I was very, very, very young, we didn't have a lot of money, that eggs were just one of those incredible foods. Why? They're incredibly good for you. They're easily available. And they're very, very cheap. You can consume eggs, a very nutritious meal, for not very much money. Or, you know what, I take that back. You could. Because now, eggs are up a lot. In some cases, some places in the country, egg prices have doubled. A staple on the American table for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on occasion, if you're doing breakfast for dinner, double. Okay, so we got gas, we got power, we got things like eggs. What you're seeing when we talk about these separate things is somebody's standard of living, many, many millions of Americans, their standard of living going down. And maybe you're not experiencing that right now. And if you're not, that's fine, good. Good. I'm glad you're not. But always keep some perspective for the people who are. I have been out of work. I know what it's like to watch bills pile up. I know what it's like to have to sit down with the wife and, hey, I think we should probably cancel this. I had to sell my car at one point in time, trade it in on some old used car. I know what it's like to sit down with the budget and look at the bank accounts and know that you're not going to make it unless you make changes. Keep in mind, we now know 166 million Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and here's what's staggering. 8 million of those people make over $100,000 a year. And I need to clarify something else here. Maybe right now you're saying to yourself, well, that's crazy. If you can't make it on $100,000 a year, you suck, you're irresponsible. Let me just tell you a brief little story here before I go back into everything else. If you haven't moved around a lot, you may not fully grasp the difference in standard of living and what it costs in this area versus that area, because it is drastically different. When I was in Arizona, after I lost 2 congressional races, I wanted to stay in the political fight. I wanted to stay in the game. And I was offered a job at a DC political firm, $75,000 a year. Now, maybe that's not a lot of money to you, but my eyes about popped out of my head. $75,000 a year? Dang, we're loaded. And I remember moving the family, wife, 2 kids, back to DC. $75,000 a year. We're not expensive people, right? We don't have boats and jet skis and cocaine and all these other things. We're just very simple people. We weren't making it. Renting a home, we weren't making it. That's happening right now across the country. Across the country, especially in the more expensive areas, and many people are tied to these expensive areas, jobs, families, churches, schools, etc. They're not making it. Even $100,000 ain't cutting it. And what's really, really bad, it's not just that we're down, right? It's one thing to be down, all right? This would be up and this is down. It's one thing if we're down. What's bad is there's no indication we're going to start heading back up. I mean, you listen to Joe Biden, they're still out there saying, well, everything's great. Change, what?
I ran for president to build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out. To bring back good paying jobs you can raise a family on. whether or not you went to college, to give working families a little more breathing room, to invest in ourselves again, to invest in America again. That's what we've done.
They're out there bragging. That's not just Joe Biden. It's the standards saying now for the Democratic Party. You would at least expect a little fake empathy, right? Hey, guys, well, I know it's not going well, but we're going to turn it around. We're going to do something. They're out there. Chuck Schumer, man, the train ain't a-stopping.
Now, you can use whatever train metaphor you want, anyone you want, but get on the Joe Biden Express now, because we are not stopping.
You ever taught your kid to ride a bike? Or maybe you were taught to ride a bike? Let me tell you something. As a parent, at some point you got to teach your kid to ride a bike, right? And then you start them out, of course, in the training wheels, and eventually they want to drop the training wheels. So you drop the training wheels, but now you got a kid with no training wheels on. He's got a helmet and all that. He's got no training wheels on, though. He's still got to learn how to ride without the training wheels. So what do you do with him? You take him out and you put him in the middle of the pavement, concrete. Hey, have fun, son. Just give him a shove and just watch as he just tears all the skin off his elbows and knees. No, of course not. You know what you do as a parent? Little tidbit. You take him to the grass. Take him to some cushy grass hill or grassy area, and you have them practice there. So when they biff it, it ain't that bad. A controlled fall. Hey, he's going to eat it. You want him to eat it. He's got to learn to balance himself, but you don't want to kill him, right? That's what you're seeing right now with Joe Biden in this classified documents thing. FBI searched Joe Biden's home again today. They search Joe Biden's home virtually every day now. Why? Because apparently Joe Biden takes classified documents home from the office the way you would steal a paperclip, and then he just tosses them any different place. Doesn't matter that Corinne Diversity hired denied 6 times in one day that there's anything else.
The search is clearly complete. They completed the search. The search is complete. He is confident in this process. You should assume that it's been completed, yes. After the search concluded last night, that search was completed last night.
Not really. Not really. This is Joe Biden on the grass. That's what this is. They are demolishing Joe Biden's political career. They don't want him to run again. All these are activist Democrats. Every single FBI agent, DOJ, every single person discovering the documents, everyone involved in this is an activist Democrat. There aren't Republicans taking down Joe Biden. This is Democrats taking down Joe Biden slowly and gently. Joe, you're going to fall, but hey, let's get you over to the grass. Oh, we found some more. Hey, we found some more. Oh, they're cooperating. Shouldn't be a problem. And eventually, you know how this ends? Joe decides, for the good of the party and the nation, he's not going to run in 2024. Maybe this young reporter chick would be happy about it because, man alive, Joe Biden gets handsy around the chicks.
What's behind your decision to end the COVID emergency?
Well, the emergency will end when the Supreme Court ends it. We've extended to May the 15th to make sure we get everything done.
What do we say the biggest problem is out there? I know we got all kinds of problems, right? This issue and that issue. What's really the biggest problem? If you've been watching I'm Right here on the First TV for a while, you'll know the biggest problem is all the people who agree with us. You, me, the people who agree with the things we think, the things we say, yet they're not awake. They don't realize what's going on around them. They share our values, they share our wants, but they're not awake yet. They think everything's just kind of fine or a little different. But that brings us to our special tonight on the media. Why aren't those people awake? Are they all stupid? No, of course not. I'm sure some of them are stupid, but they're not all stupid. But they're not awake. You're awake. I'm awake. Why aren't they awake? Well, the simple answer is the American media. And I'll get to my sky is green theory here in a second, but I just want you to imagine something really quickly. I want you to imagine that we live in a little village somewhere. We're not in the United States. We're in some tiny village. 100 people live in this village. And there is somebody in this village, because everyone has different roles, right? You would have a chief, and you'd have a guy, he's in charge of the livestock, and everyone has different roles, right? But one guy, it's his job to pass the word along. Okay, so if there's some news for the village, this guy, it's his job to go disseminate that news everywhere. Hey, there's a rival tribe. They're on the way with axes and bows. They're coming to kill us. Get ready. Hey, it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Make sure you batten down the hatches. You know, you got an election tomorrow. Show up. The guy whose job it is to pass down the word. Now imagine the chaos. Imagine the disaster that could be brought upon that village if that guy hated the village and actually wanted the village to burn, to end. Be crazy, right? Probably something he could pull off. After all, it's his job to pass the word. That's exactly what we have here in the United States of America. The American media, they're not biased, they're not left, they're not liberal, they're not broken, all these words the right will constantly use to describe the media. No, they're a hostile, insurrectionist force against this country that is absolutely, at this point in time, a national security threat, and their aim is to burn the country down. Now, back to your neighbor. Why won't he wake up? Why can't he wake up? Well, you see, I have this theory I've thrown around forever called the sky is green theory. And that theory is simply this. If the system, the media being a big part of the system, you know, media, education, government, entertainment, all the different pillars that hold up your society, if the system wanted a huge percentage of the people to believe something that everyone can see plainly isn't true, they could still be able to pull it off. If they wanted to convince half the population the sky is green, they could do it. And you might say, I'm nuts. Jesse, they could never. Jesse, I'm looking up at the sky right now. It's clearly blue. People would never remember this. But you're wrong. You underestimate the power of propaganda. You underestimate the power of shame. You see, immediately there would be scientist after scientist. I went to MIT. I'm Dr. Nerd. I have 9,000 degrees. They'd be all over television every single night on the media. Well, it's a new scientific discovery. It's actually a trick by your eyes. If you add the pronouns or whatever the heck they call those things, you'll find out the sky is green. They'd make Hollywood movies and they'd color the sky green. Your child's social studies teacher, college professor, would force your child to acknowledge the greenness of the sky or they wouldn't be able to graduate. Your kid's favorite or maybe your favorite actor, actress, sports star that have a video up on Instagram. Hey guys, get ready for the Super Bowl. Just can't believe the green sky. Over and over and over and over and over again so that anywhere a normal person looked, again, I'm not talking tip of the spear type person like you, a normal person, anywhere they looked, they would get barraged with over and over and over again, lie after lie after lie. And soon, a huge portion of this population, 50%, would believe it. And beyond the 50%, this is the reality of the sky is green theory. And the media is really super at fault for this. The people who didn't believe it, many people who didn't believe it, would go along with it anyway because they didn't want to be shamed by friends and family and coworkers on social media, in real life. Everyone gathers at a party this Friday. Everyone's got a beer, eating some Triscuits and cheese in the kitchen because Triscuits and cheese is delicious. And everybody gathers around. Man, can you believe that about the green sky? Oh, I know, I saw it on the news. Hey, I saw a doctor do it. Whoa, it's crazy. The scientists are all saying it. And there you are in the corner. It doesn't look green. Well, just keep quiet. I don't want to get yelled at. That's what we have in this country. The American media brings lies on purpose to the front door of your normal friend, and that's why he can't wake up. Because his entire world is a lie and he doesn't know it. Do you remember the Black Lives Matter rally? People said the American media covered for all the Black Lives Matter Antifa filth as they were burning down American cities. They didn't cover for them. They cheered for them.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists, and they've taken a principled stand to stand against white supremacists and white nationalists wherever they may show up.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's, no organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
That's how they covered Black Lives Matter and Antifa, street communists murdering people, torching buildings, destroying lives. That's how they chose to cover those stories. Why? Because they're all on the same side. The American media wants the same thing Black Lives Matter wants. They want the same thing Antifa wants. They all think America's evil and sucks and America should be burnt to the ground. So when they see a bunch of street animals burning down a Foot Locker after looting the newest set of Jordans, the American media, they don't choose to cover for it. Before they go on camera, they're cheering it. Woohoo! This is nice, guys. Screw America. And then they go on TV and do show me in the Constitution. And that's why they cover you the way they cover you.
Is that messaging calling Republicans extremist enough, or do Democrats need to do more than that?
We have to stop separating the GOP from right-wing extremists. I mean, the party has morphed into one.
Is it as obvious as it seems that domestic violent extremists are an important part of the voting coalition on the right? I mean, what is the structural impediment to hardening the homeland against domestic violent extremism?
People like DeSantis, people like this judge, they are extremists.
You almost have to admire how they numb us to their extremism.
But can you be full-throated about the reality? Can you call out GOP extremism for what it is?
See, the BLM Antifa people, they get covered the way they get covered because the media agrees with them. You get covered, you get called an extremist, a Nazi, a white supremacist, because that's what the media thinks. They think you're an enemy of the state. That's just a fact. Let's not lose sight of the fact that Joe Biden is president for several reasons. One of those reasons is the American people were not made aware that the president, now President Joe Biden, is intimately involved with his son and has been in several different business ventures with hostile foreign powers. And not only is that incredible national security threat a reality, the media covered it up for you, and we knew for a fact what I just said was true before the election because his crackhead son left his laptop at a laptop repair shop. And the American media, as you're about to see, they aren't biased, they aren't left, they aren't liberal, they aren't leaning this way. They're actively campaigning on behalf of the communists and against you as they covered for Hunter.
There's no evidence that Hunter Biden has done anything wrong.
There is no evidence of any wrongdoing between by Joe Biden, or by Hunter Biden.
There's no evidence that Joe Biden actually did anything wrong or did anything to sway things in Hunter Biden's favor. He's denied that his son ever lobbied him for anything.
There is nothing wrong that Vice President Biden did.
President Trump has falsely accused your son of doing something wrong while serving on a company board in Ukraine. I want to point out there's no evidence of wrongdoing by either one of you.
We have looked, lots of outlets have looked. Hunter Biden did nothing wrong. Vice President Biden did nothing wrong. And every single media outlet has said that there's no there to these allegations, lies, and smears.
I've never read a memoir like this one before. This is Hunter Biden's book, Beautiful Things. It's breathtaking.
We do have an enemy of the state operating within the borders of this country, but it's not you, it's the American media.